Welcome to another episode of 123 Credit Tea. I'm your host, Frances B., credit expert and senior credit consultant at 123creditconsultants.com. And I'm coming with you with another credit video to give you more information and credit news that you can use. Okay? So, in today's topic, we're going to talk about the late and great rapper Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle was a philanthropist in his community. He was a business owner, and he was also a very popular and upcoming rapper in the rap / hip hop community. All right. So, unfortunately, Nipsey passed because of some gun-related violence that happened when he went to visit his neighborhood. And when that happened, he left his estate to his family, and his estate ended up being sued by one of his former creditors. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about that story, and then I'm going to give you some information if you're currently being sued by a creditor, or if a creditor is currently threatened to sue you. I'm going to give you some information and some tips on what you can do. And if you are not in that current situation, but you think that situation is headed there, then I'm going to give you some tips as well. All right. So let's hop right into today's episode. The show starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, guys. So we're talking about a little bit about creditors and how they can sue you. And I decided to bring in a celebrity and someone that most people would know, right? Because I like to highlight some issues when it comes to celebrities, because it's always best to highlight this, because a lot of people tend to think that just because we're everyday consumers that we're the only ones that go through some type of financial or credit related issue. And this happens to everyday people, but also to celebrities, people that are famous, athletes, people that you look up to every single day. They go through the same issues when it comes to their credit, just like we do. So I like to bring in some of those, current events and some of those topics in to some of the things that we're talking about, so that you understand that you're not alone in whatever situation it is that you're going through regarding your credit, regarding your finances, regarding your credit goals, whatever it is. All right. So we're talking about Nipsey Hussle. And we kind of talked a little bit about who he was, what he did. He is currently being sued. After he died, he was being sued by American Express for $50,000 of unpaid credit card debt. So obviously, I'm sure he didn't, know that he was going to pass. And he utilized, obviously, the credit cards to, purchase goods and services. But the thing that people don't realize when it comes to any creditor, not just a credit card company, but for your home, for your vehicle, for your loans, those creditors are in business to make money. Okay. So whether you're alive or if you're not alive, they want their coins. They want their money back. So in this particular case, since Nipsey had passed away, he did have an estate. So he had, a home. He more than likely had other things. And so because of that, the credit card company knew that they could still go after his estate and the things that he generated. I can't even talk today for, creating wealth for him and his family through his business, through his music, through different things that he was in. So they still want their money. And, you and I can sit back and be upset with American Express or any other company, but it is a business that they're in business to make money. If they see an avenue where they can collect their money, they're going to do that. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about, obviously, if you're watching this video, you're still alive. So if the creditors decide that they want to sue you for a debt, they more than likely are not going to be coming after your estate because here in Texas, I can't speak for other states, and I am a licensed real estate agent. So here in Texas, they cannot come for your home and sue your home for a debt that you owe. Now, in other states, it's very possible, but here in Texas, your home is considered your homestead. So they can't come and, take a lien out against your home in order for you to pay a debt. It doesn't happen here in Texas. Now, again, like I said, this is just Texas. So if you're watching this and you live in New York, you might want to check with a real estate agent in New York or some kind of real estate attorney. Okay. So, and I just have to say a disclaimer because I know some of y'all will be like, oh, well, what about New Jersey? I don't know about New Jersey. Okay. I only know about Texas. So, when we're talking about being sued for a creditor, let's back up a little bit and talk about how that happens. So basically what happens when you end up being sued by a creditor is you end up owing a balance for whatever it might be, right? Credit card, it could be a car, it could be a loan, it could be an furniture, whatever, okay? And you didn't pay it back. You're supposed to pay it on time. They've been contacting you. It may have even went to collections over time, and they end up filing to sue you for the debt. Okay. So they go to the court and they say, hey, we've been trying to contact this person. They have not been contacting us back. And we need our money. We need our checks. So they will basically send you a letter in the mail saying you're being sued for this particular debt, for this particular amount. And you can appear in court to, argue your side point in it. And then the judge will come to an agreement after hearing your side and the creditor's side and say, yes, you owe this debt, or no, you don't owe this debt. Okay. Now you still have rights. Okay. Up until that point, and even when that's even happening, the creditor does have to prove that you actually owe the debt. The creditor does have to provide sufficient evidence that the debt actually is within statute of limitations and that they actually own the debt. Okay. So if you're working with a credit consultant or a credit specialist, that is one of the things that we more than likely are looking at. We're looking at a little bit deeper than, yes, you owe Comcast $75, or yes, you own, American Express $50,000, right? A lot of people like, okay, I owe this, so I'm going to pay. But sometimes you can get scammed yourself because you can end up paying the wrong collection agency that doesn't actually own the debt, or you can pay a collection agency that is not even open and operable. They just know that you owe that debt and they will reach out to you to try to collect money from you. Okay, so you have to be very careful when it comes to actually paying on these debts, because I know thousands and thousands of people who send me messages, who send us emails, who contact us for help after they've already paid a collection agency that was a scam. There's nothing that we can do about that. Your money is already gone. They are already gone. It's a wrap. Okay. And the bad thing about it is you still owe the other collection agency. That was the real one. So you're out of your money that you've already spent the first time, and you still have bad credit, and this item is still on your credit report unpaid. All right. So there's a lot of benefits and a lot of advantages of working with a credit consultant than it is trying to figure this thing out on your own. All right. So you go to the courthouse. They say, hey, you have to pay this debt. They've proved that you owe this debt. And then from there, you try to work out some type of arrangement. Now, if you don't show up to court, what ends up happening is you end up having to either get your check garnished. So if you get paid every 2 weeks, they can take a certain percentage of that money out of your check before it even hits your bank account. Okay. Or if you don't have a check coming in every 2 weeks or something like that, then they will actually hit your bank account. All right. And they will just take the whole lump sum out of your bank account right then and there. And sometimes that can cause you to be overdraft. It can take your emergency funds that you might need it for an emergency. It could be a very bad situation. And honestly, they're well within their rights to do so because you lost the lawsuit. Okay. So you have to take care of your credit situations right now while you're alive, and God forbid something happens to you. You don't want to leave that type of burden on your family. Okay. They're already grieving you passing. They miss you. They love you. They got to deal with, you not being around, on top of dealing with possibly being sued because they inherited some type of estate that you had some type of ownership in. Okay. So I hate to say it, but these creditors, they're going to get their money whether you're alive or if you're not alive. So it's best to go ahead and take care of your credit situation right now. So if you have some collection accounts on your credit report, you definitely want to reach out to us to schedule a consultation with us to see what can actually be done with those collection items. I highly recommend not just going in and paying off all the items on your credit report without speaking with a credit consultant or a credit specialist first. A lot of times, a lot of our clients are able to get items removed from their credit report and they did not have to actually pay the debt. And that simply happens because the creditor was not able to provide valid proof that they actually owe the debt. Okay? And when we're talking about valid proof, we're not talking about them just sending you a letter in the mail saying that you owe money. Okay? There are a lot of different check marks they have to hit in order to be able to prove the debt. All right. So stop listening to these people that is in these Facebook groups, that's on these different, free credit stuff that y'all got going on. Really sit down and speak with an expert if you really want to be able to get out of the credit situation that you're in. Now, like I said, you can always go over to our website at www.123creditconsultants.com, where you can schedule a free consultation and a free credit analysis with one of our board certified credit consultants. Who knows? I might even be one of the people that might be working that day that you'll be able to speak with to be able to help you and answer some questions that you might have. Now, if we think that you are a good candidate for our services, then we'll definitely at that time enroll you into our credit program, where we would not only help you with improving your credit, but we also would teach you things about credit that they did not teach us in high school or even college. We're also going to teach you how to build your credit, okay, how to manage your credit. And we're going to also give you credit information that you need to buy your first home, to buy your first car the smart way, to save, and even pay down debt. All right. So you don't want to settle for your regular cookie cutter credit repair company where all they're doing is just sending letters out on your credit report, because improving your credit takes a lot more than just disputing items on your credit report. All right. So I hope that information was very helpful to you guys. And of course, if you have any credit questions that you want us to answer, go over to social media, follow us, like us, tweet us, and use hashtag Ask a Credit Consultant so that you are able to send us over your credit questions. Now, of course, I already have a few credit questions that you guys have already sent to us right here on my phone that I hid behind this pillow. And so I'm going to answer I'm just going to answer two random credit questions that you guys submitted in our Facebook group. And I'll answer those questions live. Of course, I will only say your first name. I'm not going to say your last name. And, I'm not going to say what city you're from or anything like that. Okay. All right. So we have a question here from, I'm going to mess up your name, sis. I'm sorry. Girl. Tamdra? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Tajma. My bad if I messed that up. Okay. I'm not really good with names. Okay. Trust me. Like people I've been knowing for a while, I be trying to pronounce their name. Sometimes I just be like, hey girl, so don't be mad at me, girl. Okay. Don't block me or nothing like that. Anyway, so here is the question that you submitted here in our Facebook group. I'm in a financial bind and was looking to apply for a credit card or an installment loan, but I just got my score up to 620s and don't know if I'll qualify. But if I do, what would be my best route? I just need a little help catching up, but not much. All right. So basically, you have a 620 credit score and you're in a financial bind and you want to apply for a credit card or a loan. I'm going to be honest with you. It's not really a credit card or a loan that you can really apply for with a 620 credit score. I'm going to just be real with you. The only place that I could think of that you would really be able to get a loan would not be based off your credit. It would be like one of those, payday car title loan kind of places. Okay. And that is called preparatory lending. And they pretty much lend to people with some very horrible terms. And a lot of times people aren't able to pay those loans back. So I don't recommend trying to go that route. And I don't recommend you exhausting inquiries on your credit trying to qualify for a credit card. If you're already in a financial bind, creditors will be able to tell because your credit score is already low. What people don't realize is your credit score is a byproduct of your financial behavior. So if you're going through something financially, more than likely your credit score is going to be lower because you're utilizing more credit. You're utilizing more credit card, more of your credit card available balance. You're utilizing more of your line of credit. You're applying for more credit. You're doing more things that is going to bring down your credit score. When you apply for new credit, that's a new inquiry. So that's going to lower your credit score. When you utilize more of your credit card available credit, that's going to pull down your credit score, right? So those behaviors are kind of behaviors of people that are going through a financial bind, and that's why it pulls down your credit score to alert creditors that this person is not in the best financial situation right now to be able to get a loan, afford a loan, or pay us back, right? So I hate to say it, sis, but you're not going to be approved for a credit card or even an installment loan without actually doing some type of deposit, and that's going to defeat the whole purpose of you wanting to apply for it in the first place. Okay. Now, like I said, your backup option would be, one of these car title, payday loan kind of places. But I really, really, really don't recommend doing that because that is just like a whole nother situation that you just don't want to be a part of. The terms are likely not the best, and it's going to be really hard to pay off. So try to borrow from a friend or family member if you can. A second thing I would say is maybe try to sell something, right? Like if you have an extra car or if you have, something of value that you possibly could sell, I would recommend doing that. Maybe even look into a side job, right? So they have Uber, they have Lyft, they have Amazon package, whatever. So you can like go pick up Amazon packages and deliver them as a freelancer. And, or you could be a freelancer, right? But my point is don't go into more debt trying to, get out of a financial bind because you're just going to end up ruining your credit and you're still not going to be able to get approved for anything. So borrow from a friend or try to come up with the money by doing odd jobs or side jobs temporarily to help you get out of that financial bind. So I hope that was helpful for you. And again, my bad for messing up your name. Okay, so I'm going to pick one more question that is inside of our Facebook group. And then we're going to move on to our freebie that we have for you guys. Okay, so let's see what other, I'm just like picking random questions here. All right, so this question is from Anna, A-N-A. I feel like that sounds right, okay? Again, my bad if it's not. So your question is, can I spend all of my credit and pay it back before the due date? Okay. So can you do that? Yeah, you could do that if you have the money, nothing would stop you. But I think your question is, can you do that and still improve your credit score? That's a tricky kind of game that you're playing there. So when it comes to your credit card, because you just said you had a credit card, right? Well, you didn't really say. You just said, can I spend all my credit and pay it back before due date? So I'm going to assume, okay, that you're talking about a credit card. Okay, so can I spend all of my credit card balance or available credit and pay it back before the due date? The answer to that question is, yeah, technically you can, right? But is it the best way to go about it to improve your credit score? No, it's not. When it comes to credit cards, you have two different dates that you need to keep up with, okay? You have your statement date and then you have your due date. Your statement date is the day that your statement prints. That's the date that they take a screenshot of all the activity that you've done for the whole year, the whole month on your credit card. And they create a statement, right? They say, hey, you purchased this, you purchased that, you paid this much, this is how much you owe, this is the minimum payment, right? So that's the statement date. Then you have your due date, right? That's the date that's on your statement that they say, you got to run me my coins, right? So if they say the minimum balance is $25 on your statement due on the first of the month, you got to pay $25 by the first of the month. Now, this is where people miss the disconnect. Your statement date, your statement balance, and how much you owe on your due date, that's what's actually reported on your credit report, okay? So if you happen to pay off all of your credit cards the day after your statement is printed, that's not what's going to be on your credit report. What's going to be on your credit report is your card showing maxed out the day before, okay? So if you want to play that little game where you use your whole credit limit and then you try to pay it all back or whatever, make sure you do that. Make sure you, one, understand what your statement date is and your due date is and understand the difference. Okay, that's number one. That's what we just talked about. But number two, what you want to make sure you understand is that you want to pay off the credit card before your statement prints, before your statement date, not your due date. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So can you use all the credit on your credit card in order for you to be able to improve your credit score? Yeah, you can, but you need to make sure you pay it all back before the actual statement date and not the due date. The second tip that I have for you that I always give to our clients, you're not a client, I don't think. So, well, you can't be a client because you wouldn't be asking the Facebook group. You'd be asking your credit consultant, right? So I don't think you're a client. But, and if you are a client, don't ask us on Facebook. Ask us from your client account, okay? But anyways, what you can do also, so we talked about the difference between your statement date and your due date. We talked about when you should actually pay. And now let's talk about how you should actually manage the account. I don't recommend maxing out the entire card every single month. That's not helping your credit. You want to actually utilize less than 30% of the total credit limit available. So if you have a credit card, the total credit limit is $1,000, okay? You want to use $300 or less on that credit card, okay? If you can pay it off before the statement date, that's great. If you can't and the statement prints out, you still can pay on the due date and it won't bring your credit score down as much as if it was maxed out, all right? So my high recommendation, if you have to use a credit card, utilize 30% or less, and try to pay it before the statement date, at the latest, the due date. All right. So I hope that was helpful for you, Anna. Of course, if you guys want to get your credit question answered live on our show, all you have to do is go over to our Facebook, our Instagram, or our Twitter. Use hashtag #AskACreditConsultant, and you will be able to possibly either come on the show live with me, or I'll be able to see your question and answer it right here on the show. All right. So, like I said, every show I try to give you guys something to walk away with. So I do have my free credit score booster guide still available. We do have some downloads available. We just added some on there. You can go over to 123creditconsultants.com/credit guide to download a copy of our free credit score booster guide. A lot of people have been able to improve their credit score 50 to 100 points just by utilizing the resources in that free credit score booster guide. Okay, so I really cannot talk today. Like, I keep getting tongue-tied. Okay, but you can check out that guide just by going to that link and downloading it. It's absolutely free. You don't have to pay for the guide. Follow the steps in there and let us know. Post your testimonial on social media. Tag us. Let us know. We'll definitely be happy to share you guys' positive reviews, and we definitely really appreciate it. All right, so last but not least, I have to say my disclaimer for the folks in the back. Okay, the information that we share on this episode or any episode on our channel is strictly for general information. All right, so if you want some credit advice based on your specific credit situation, head over to our website, 123creditconsultants.com. You can schedule a free credit consultation and a free credit analysis with one of our board certified credit consultants. All right. If we feel that you're a good candidate for our services, we'll definitely invite you to enroll at that time, and we'll sign you up and get you started on your credit journey. All right. So that is it for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys share, like, subscribe, and comment. All right. And comment below and let me know your thoughts, comments, questions about today's episode. I would love to hear your thoughts. All right. So until next time, bye.